At least 10 rockets targeted an Iraqi military base in western Iraq that houses U.S. troops and other U.S.-led coalition soldiers. It's the first rocket attack since the U.S. military launched an operation against Iran-financed militia groups along the Iraq-Syria border just days ago. With us now is Mayor Javandan Far, Iran lecturer at the IDC University in Herzliya. Thank you so much, Mayor, for your time. I want to ask about what appears to be an intensifying proxy war being waged with these Iran-backed, Iran-supported militia groups often near the borders that are engaging in battle and attacks with U.S. bases and U.S. troops. It seems to be a very dangerous game that may stretch back to Tehran.
Look, Jeff, the Iranians have two goals with these attacks. Number one, they do not want the United States to establish rules of the game in Iraq and Syria. We saw recently that President Biden retaliated against an Iranian attack in Iraq by retaliating against pro-Iranian forces in Syria. And the Iranians who have much bigger influence in Iraq, don't want the United States to establish new deterrence and to establish new rules of the game there, number one. Number two, the Iranians are under pressure. They believe that they were wronged by the Trump administration because Trump unilaterally walked out of the nuclear deal. And now that Biden has returned, he is not returning to the negotiation table. He's not lifting sanctions. The way the Iranians see it, it's logical and it's fair that Biden should immediately just remove all the sanctions. And Biden's not doing that. So the Iranians are resorting to pressure tactics, and attacking U.S. forces is one of them.
Many of these sanctions have been now around for years, that even in the earlier days of the Trump White House. Exactly who is suffering from some of these sanctions? What groups of people are being hardest hit by the sanctions that are still in place?
Look, in terms of who's being hurt, of course, both the regime and the people of Iran are being hurt. Please understand me right. I don't think, despite the sanctions, that the people of Iran are turning against the U.S. I think the people of Iran hate the regime far more than I have not seen any self-organized, spontaneous, grassroots demonstrations against the United States by the people of Iran because of these sanctions. Even the daughter of former president of Iran, Faiza Rafsanjani, said that the people of Iran know that it's the ruling regime in Iran which is responsible and has far more responsibility for the current sanctions. So, and the Iranian regime doesn't really include the people of Iran's decision-making. Nevertheless, the ruling regime in Iran has an interest to stay in power, it's a regime interest to maintain its legitimacy by following its own policies, and it feels that these sanctions, the strongest ones are the ones imposed by Trump, are undermining its economy, are undermining its financial resources, and the fact that Biden is not he's not removing all the sanctions, it's making the regime in Iran look weak.